Is the Sabbath based on the moon? A biblical examination of the weekly cycle. Today we're going to deal with a topic that has become very popular among certain Torah-observant groups, Hebrew groups, and people searching for what they call the true biblical calendar. The question is this: is the Sabbath based on the moon cycle? Or is the Sabbath simply a continuous cycle of 6 days of work followed by 1 day of rest? Now, before we begin, let's make something clear. This discussion is not about attacking people. Many people who follow lunar Sabbath sincerely believe they are obeying the Most High. The goal here is simply to examine Scripture carefully and ask one question: what actually makes sense biblically? Because once you strip away emotions, traditions, and theories, the Bible itself becomes surprisingly simple. Let's begin in the beginning. In the book of Genesis, the Most High creates the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and on the 7th day he rests. The pattern established is straightforward: 6 days of labor, 1 day of rest, then repeat. Genesis never says, restart the week every new moon. It never says, pause the weekly cycle during moon transitions. It never says, insert extra transition days between months. It simply gives a repeating cycle. Then later in Exodus, when Israel is given the commandment, the Most High says, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath. Notice something important. The command itself only works if the cycle is continuous. Why? Because you cannot consistently count 6 work days and 1 rest day if the count is constantly interrupted by moon phases. Now, this is where we need to separate 3 things that many people accidentally combine together. Number 1, the moon does affect biblical months. Number 2, the moon does affect feast timing. But number 3, that does not automatically mean the moon resets the weekly Sabbath. That is the key distinction. The Hebrew calendar absolutely tracked months using lunar observation. That part is true. Passover happens during a specific month. Feast days happen during specific months. New moons were observed. But observing months is not the same thing as resetting weeks. And mathematically, this becomes a major problem for the lunar Sabbath position. A lunar month is about 29.5 days long, but a week is 7 days. 29.5 does not divide evenly into 7. That means if you try to make Sabbaths follow lunar cycles, eventually you are forced to do one of 3 things. Either reset the weekly count every month, or insert extra non-weekdays, or break the continuous 6-in-1 pattern established in Genesis. And that is exactly why many believers reject lunar Sabbaths entirely, because Scripture never commands those interruptions. Now let's go deeper. One of the biggest arguments against lunar Sabbaths comes from the manna in the wilderness. When Israel was in the wilderness, the Most High sent manna from heaven. The pattern was simple. Manna fell for 6 days. On the 7th day there was none. Then the cycle repeated continuously. The Bible never says, and then the new moon interrupted the count. That never happens. The manna cycle is one of the clearest demonstrations of a continuous weekly Sabbath. Now, another important point. Throughout Scripture, Sabbaths and new moons are consistently separated. Listen carefully. The Bible repeatedly says Sabbaths, new moons, and feast days. They are listed separately. That means a Sabbath is one category, a new moon is another category, and feast days are another category. If Sabbaths were simply moon phases, why keep separating them? That distinction matters. Now let's address something else. Many people today associate lunar Sabbath teachings with deeper mystical ideas connected to feminine energy, moon cycles, fertility, and hidden cosmic rhythms. And yes, historically, many ancient pagan religions did associate the moon with feminine worship systems. Ancient cultures connected the moon to fertility, goddess worship, agriculture, and women's cycles. But the Bible never says the Sabbath is based on female biology. That idea comes from mystical interpretations, not direct commandments from Scripture. Most lunar Sabbath believers are not intentionally worshiping the moon. Let's be fair and honest. Most sincerely believe they are returning to the Creator's original calendar. However, the concern many people have is this: when the moon becomes the governing authority over the Sabbath itself, instead of the direct 6-in-1 creation pattern, then the focus begins shifting away from the simple commandment. And the Most High's commandments are usually simple: 6 days work, 7th day rest. Simple. Now let's deal with another important issue: People often ask, well, what about modern calendars? Didn't Rome change everything? Here's the important thing to understand. Months and years can be adjusted by cultures, but the 7-day week has remained remarkably continuous across civilizations for thousands of years. Even when calendars changed, the weekly cycle kept moving. That's why across most of the world today, there is still a recognized 7-day system. Now, internationally, Monday is often treated as the first day of the week for business standards. But biblically and historically, Sunday was generally understood as the first day of the week, with Saturday being the seventh-day Sabbath. And honestly, this makes the issue simpler than many people realize, because once you identify the weekly cycle, the command becomes straightforward. Work 6 days, rest the seventh, repeat continuously. The month has nothing to do with interrupting the week. The moon can govern months, the sun can govern seasons, but the Sabbath itself remains a repeating memorial of creation. Now, I want to say this carefully before ending the video. People searching for truth should not be mocked. Many people become interested in lunar Sabbaths because they realize mainstream religion has hidden or altered many things throughout history. That curiosity is understandable, but we must be careful not to overcomplicate what the Most High made simple. Sometimes the deepest truth is the plainest one. 6 days shalt thou labor. The seventh day is the Sabbath. No interruptions, no resets, no hidden moon calculations, just obedience. And honestly, that simplicity may be exactly why the command has survived across generations, nations, and centuries. Peace and blessings.